Okay folks, today we're going to be testing this 1965 to 1967 Chevrolet stereo multiplex adapter. And this is quite a rare find. You'll see more of the details in the pictures. I don't want to move it around too much and disturb any of the connections or anything. But it's a real nice cosmetic unit. You can see the chrome is awesome. Knobs are all here, which are specific because they have these dots in their special size. The indicator lens here in the center, which you'll see it in a minute, but it's not all cracked out like most of them you'll see. The factory wrinkle paint is quite nice all around. There's a couple chips and scratches, of course, but nothing I don't think that's going to really show when it's installed. And yeah, even better, this thing works great. So the way these work is on 65 to 67 Chevrolet AM/FM radios. So this includes, let me think through this. It includes 65 Nova. It includes Corvair, 67 Camaro, 65 to 67 Chevelle, and 65 to 67 Impala. I may be forgetting some, but I think that is it. Anyway, all it takes to install this guy, as far as hooking it up to the radio, is the back of the radio here, right here, normally has what they call a multiplex eliminator plugged in. So this is just attached by a quarter-inch head screw here, and it plugs into the radio. So you take this out, you plug this unit in, and it also has its own power harness going to it. And that's it. It's hooked up to the radio at that point, and all your speaker channels come out of this connector here. Very cool system. Now, once it's installed, your volume control here on your radio is simply the on-off switch, and then at that point your volume is controlled by the volume on the multiplex. You also have tone, so bass, treble, balance, which is left, right, and then front and rear fader here. So you have all the controls you want. You have true 4-channel stereo, and a very, very cool option. They didn't make very many of these because they were really expensive, and stereo was not a huge thing back then. In fact, FM wasn't even a huge thing. So in order to get the stereo, you needed FM, and FM wasn't big in the 60s except for in big cities. So anyway, now you know. We're going to test this guy out. We have it hooked up to a 12-volt power supply, the correct 8-ohm speaker, and then antenna. And before we get started, let me tell you that my power supply is only a 3-amp 12-volt power supply. So you'll hear the radio kind of struggle when it first gets started to get the power it needs to make this unit work. But it's no problem. You'll hear it. Just if you hear that, know that that's what's going on there. Okay, here we go. So that's what I'm talking about there. Anyway.
Because you should always listen to the advice of spokes animals. After all, who knows more about protecting them?
This is the stereo indicator I was talking about, and you can see it's not cracked or anything. It's quite clear and easy to read. That will turn on when there's a strong stereo FM signal turned in. So you'll see that as we're turning through the dial, turn on and off. And the reason it's turning on and off is because there's either a stereo signal or there's not. That's what the indicator's for. So we'll go through a couple stations here just to show you that working, so you see it clicking off. And then when we get to another stereo station, it'll turn back on, off, again on, off, on, and oh yeah. So see, there's no volume control here, it's all here. So we're only this far up on volume now. This thing gets really loud. Anyway, loud and clear, pretty awesome. Here's tone. Bass, treble, or whatever they call it, bass, voice, and then of course we have balance. So we're on just a single channel now, so it'll fade out when I turn it one way. There we go, and then it'll come back in full on this side. And then same with this, it'll fade out one way, come back in on the other side. Let me show you that all 4 channels work here. So I'll bring the stereo connector up to us here. There's 2 grounds on this connector and 4 stereo channels. So let me see what we got here. I think there's one here, one here, and then one here. So let me turn it up a little bit. Anyway, they all work nicely. Sorry for the background noise. We got trucks going by right now. Alright, well this truck noise is not helping us out here. I think we lost our antenna, so bear with me, guys. That's why we stopped seeing the stereo indicator when I was playing around with the wiring. We came out there. I think we're back in. Anyway, just a really cool, let me show you again. It also comes with the factory bracket here. So this unscrews off the side of the unit, and then it bolts or screws into the underside of the dash, and then it goes in there. And your factory assembly manual will show you where this attaches. And then again, to turn it off, you simply just turn off the radio and it's turned off. Anyway, look more at the pictures for the details as far as condition, but it's a really nice original unit. It looks great, it works great. Just a really cool unit. Don't miss it.